Nearly 4 years ago, my predecessor sent a violent mob to the U.S. Capitol. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America.
When we have a candidate in Donald Trump who's openly said he'll be a dictator on day one, it is very likely that he could be immune from those kinds of acts. Thought that we could have a president in the White House who thinks he's immune, that office, that include weaponizing the Department of Justice against his political enemies, or being a dictator on day one.
Did anybody last night watch a thing called The Debate? We had a big victory against a man that really is looking to destroy our country. He's the worst. He's the most corrupt. He studied very hard. He studied so hard that he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Trump's immunity gambit. So, Trump's at it again, pulling a wild card from his seemingly bottomless deck. Fresh from the Supreme Court granting him absolute presidential immunity, he's now using this to try and overturn his 34 felony convictions in Manhattan. This bold move has left everyone scratching their heads. I mean, how on earth does he think immunity from presidential acts can apply to hush money payments and falsification of business records that happened before he even stepped foot in the White House? Yet, here we are, watching Trump's lawyers file motions and kick up a legal dust storm, hoping to sway the court. It's a classic Trump maneuver, audacious, controversial, and undeniably headline-grabbing. The Supreme Court's ruling is a real game-changer. They went all in, declaring presidents get absolute immunity for their official acts. That's right. Anything they do while in office is untouchable. But here's the kicker. This immunity doesn't cover unofficial actions or anything done before taking office. So, all those hush money payments and falsified records Trump's charged with, they happened when he was still a private citizen. You'd think that would be the end of it, but nope. Trump's team is arguing that some evidence from his presidency, which showed his intent and pattern of behavior, should never have been admitted in the trial. It's a complex legal tango that has the DA's office working overtime to counter. DA's methodical move. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office is no stranger to high-profile cases, but dealing with Trump, that's a whole different beast. After Trump's lawyers filed a motion to vacate his 34 felony convictions, citing the Supreme Court's absolute presidential immunity ruling, the DA's office responded with precision. They received Trump's promotion letter and, in a strategic yet cautious move, agreed to his request for an adjournment of the sentencing hearing. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's a tactical decision to avoid any missteps that could lead to an appeal and potentially overturn the sentencing. The DA's office is playing it smart. They're recognizing that rushing into the sentencing could be a recipe for disaster. Instead, they're methodically preparing to counter Trump's immunity claims. The DA's team believes Trump's arguments are without merit, but they're not taking any chances. By allowing Trump to file his motion and delaying the sentencing, they're ensuring every angle is covered, every argument is prepped, and every potential appeal issue is addressed. It's like watching a chess master plan several moves ahead, anticipating the opponent's every strategy. This careful approach is crucial because of the Supreme Court's ruling, which declared that presidents have absolute immunity for official acts. This broad interpretation has created a legal quagmire. Trump's lawyers are leveraging this ruling to argue that evidence from his presidency should not have been allowed in his trial. The DA's office is countering this by meticulously reviewing the evidence and preparing to argue that Trump's actions, even while in office, do not fall under the immunity umbrella for this case. The Manhattan DA's office isn't just battling Trump, they're battling a precedent that could have far-reaching implications. Their methodical move is about more than just this case. It's about ensuring that justice is served without opening the floodgates for future presidential immunity claims. It's a delicate balance of legal finesse and strategic foresight, showing that they're not just reacting to Trump's maneuvers, but proactively shaping the narrative.
In the wake of his disastrous debate, at least 25 Democratic members of Congress are said to be ready to call on Biden to step down.
25 House Democrats are ready to call on President Biden to drop out of the race.
Calls for President Biden to withdraw from the presidential race are reportedly growing within his own party.
There's a lot of anger out there right now from rank-and-file Democrats at the Biden family, top advisors in the White House and on the campaign trail.
Supreme Court twist. Oh, the drama. The Supreme Court's ruling on absolute presidential immunity has thrown a massive wrench into the gears of the legal system. This ruling, which goes way beyond what anyone expected, states that presidents have absolute immunity for any official acts performed while in office. The catch? This immunity doesn't extend to actions taken before or after their presidency, but leave it to Trump to find a loophole and dive headfirst into it. The Supreme Court's decision has left everyone reeling. It's not just a twist, it's a legal earthquake. By declaring such broad immunity, the court has opened up a Pandora's box of legal questions and implications. Trump's lawyers are now arguing that evidence from his time in office, which was used to show his intent and pattern of behavior, should never have been admitted in the Manhattan trial. They're claiming that this evidence, tied to his official acts, should be excluded under the new ruling. It's a bold move that's causing a lot of confusion and debate among legal experts. This interpretation has set the stage for Trump's current legal strategy, where his team is using the ruling to argue for a new trial or the dismissal of the existing verdict. It's a legal tightrope walk that has everyone watching closely. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office is not taking this lying down. They're pushing back, arguing that Trump's actions, even those taken while in office, do not qualify for immunity in this context. The DA's team is meticulously preparing their response, ensuring that they can counter Trump's claims effectively. They're scrutinizing every piece of evidence and every argument to make sure that Trump's latest legal maneuver doesn't derail the pursuit of justice.
Nearly 4 years ago, my predecessor sent a violent mob to the U.S. Capitol. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Today's Supreme Court decision, almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. It's a dangerous precedent. Gutting voting rights and civil rights, to taking away a woman's right to choose, that undermines the rule of law of this nation.
Evidence exclusion drama. The drama over evidence exclusion is heating up. Trump's legal team is making waves by arguing that a ton of evidence from his presidency used in his Manhattan trial should have never seen the light of day. They're leaning hard on the Supreme Court's ruling that presidents have absolute immunity for official acts, claiming that this evidence should be excluded because it relates to his time in office. It's a high-stakes gamble that's got everyone buzzing. The crux of the argument is that while Trump's charges stem from actions before his presidency, the trial included evidence from his time in office to establish intent and pattern. Trump's lawyers are now saying this was a big no-no under the new Supreme Court ruling. They're pointing to interactions with staff, events at the White House, and official communications, arguing that all of this should have been off-limits. It's like trying to rewrite the rules of the game after the final whistle. Bold, brash, and oh so Trump. Justice Sotomayor's dissent in the Supreme Court ruling adds another layer of intrigue. She slammed the majority's decision, saying it creates a nonsensical barrier that prevents using a president's official acts as evidence in criminal prosecutions. This dissent is now a key part of the debate, with Trump's team using it to bolster their argument for excluding evidence. It's a classic case of turning the tables, using the very foundations of the ruling against the prosecution.
Did anybody last night watch a thing called the debate?
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
It's hard to watch.
Let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why?
And Jill Biden's performance, I think, is worse than Joe Biden's. And Vogue, what are you doing? Jill Biden is right now being accused of elder abuse, which is like watching a car crash play out in slow motion every day.
Sentencing delay strategy. In the latest twist of this ongoing legal saga, the Manhattan DA's office has strategically agreed to delay Trump's sentencing. This isn't just a pause button, it's a calculated move in a high-stakes game of legal chess. Trump's lawyers, armed with the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity, have requested more time to file a motion to vacate his 34 felony convictions. The DA's office, recognizing the potential pitfalls of rushing the process, has opted for a strategic delay. Here's the deal. By agreeing to push back the sentencing, the DA's office is ensuring that they have ample time to meticulously counter Trump's arguments. They know that any hasty decision could lead to errors, which could then be exploited on appeal. It's a classic case of playing the long game, making sure that every step is methodical and every argument is rock solid. This isn't about giving Trump a break. It's about making sure that justice is served without any loopholes for Trump's legal team to exploit. The Supreme Court's ruling has thrown a curveball into the proceedings, with its broad interpretation of presidential immunity. Trump's lawyers are using this to argue that evidence from his presidency, which was used to demonstrate intent and pattern, should be excluded. The DA's office is preparing to counter this by arguing that Trump's actions, even while in office, don't qualify for immunity in this context. They're taking their time to build a watertight case, ensuring that every piece of evidence is scrutinized and every legal argument is prepared. This delay is more than just a tactical move. It's a demonstration of the DA's office's commitment to thoroughness and precision. They're not just reacting to Trump's legal maneuvers, they're anticipating them and preparing to counter them effectively. This approach ensures that when the time comes for sentencing, there will be no room for Trump's team to argue procedural errors or rushed decisions. In the grand scheme of things, this sentencing delay strategy is about ensuring that the legal process is meticulous and foolproof. It's about making sure that Trump's high-profile case sets a precedent for how the justice system handles claims of presidential immunity.
3 hours watching, being begged by his vice president to do something, to call for a stop, to end it.
As the DA's office prepares for the next round of this legal battle, one thing is clear. They're in it for the long haul, ready to face every twist and turn with careful, calculated precision. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.